Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the New Terminal 1 Commercial Program ACDBE Concessions JV Equity Partnership Opportunities webinar. My name is Rachel Antoine. I serve as the Manager of External Affairs and Community Outreach for Port Authority of New York and New Jersey on the JFK Redevelopment Program. Welcome. Next slide, please. It gives me great pleasure to connect with you all on this very day and also bring greetings on behalf of the Port Authority. As you all may know that JFK Airport is currently undergoing a $20 billion redevelopment. And with this amazing transformation happening at JFK Airport, we are speaking of many different opportunities for the local community, for local businesses and firms throughout the New York state. So as you can see on the screen, that the current project that the JFK Airport is undergoing will benefit the community in multiple aspects, but especially our airport into transforming into a world-class airport. So this major project is looking forward to unifying different terminals at JFK Airport, providing world-class amenities at the airport, as well as redesigning the airport traffic pattern. And we, the Port Authority, are also undergoing the roadway opportunity projects at Port Authority too as well. We're also looking forward to expanding the taxiways and the gate capacity at JFK Airport, and conclusion, bringing the state-of-the-art security there too as well. So mentioning this information to you all is not only important that we speak to the work that's being done, but also to the different opportunities that businesses within the community can obtain. So we are here today on behalf of the New Terminal 1 team and very happy to work with URW, RF Wilkins on this project to make sure that local businesses are getting the opportunity. So this particular webinar is regarding to concessions opportunity, and we, the Port Authority, play a role to ensure that we are bringing the resources to the community too as well. Next slide. As we have alluded earlier as to what's happening at JFK Airport, this is a rendering as to how our current airport looks like. Of course, with a major transformation happening in construction, we will be looking at a brand new airport in the upcoming future. And we are looking forward to partnering with you all, connecting with the community at large, and providing all the resources and information related to concessions opportunity, as well as local business opportunity on the airport. Now, it gives me great pleasure to pass the mic over to my colleague, Frank Mendoza, on the New Terminal 1 team.
The Port Authority is a great partner for us as we work towards the successful transformation of the New Terminal 1. First slide, next slide. Why we're here today, as Rachel said, the New Terminal 1 is ready to launch and has launched the commercial program. We are a $9 billion project, over 2 million square feet in total. This is an important project for New York, the New York region, as well as for the community. And we're a key player, and we understand why we're here, and we want to make sure that we offer as much opportunity, as much transparency to what is coming as we complete the terminal. Next slide. So as I said, the terminal is well underway. We broke ground in September 2022. We've been underway since November 2019. So it's been a long road, but we are definitely well underway, as you can see in that current construction photo. The terminal is, as I said, about 2 million square feet. It's all international passengers and traffic going through the terminal. We will have 23 wide-body gates. And within the 2 million plus square feet, we will have this concessions program taking up about 180,000 square feet of that. So there's many opportunities to come. This is the first of the interior fit-outs of the terminal. So as we complete the box, the core and shell, if you will, we'll begin to focus on the interior spaces. This is our second session with the concessions program, so it's important to understand what's coming, and we look forward to speaking to you more and having you learn more about the process here today. With that, I will turn it over to Amy Benson, VP of Marketing for URW.
Thanks so much, Frank, and welcome everyone. It's great to have you here today for this special outreach session for the new Terminal 1. I'm your host, Amy Benson with Unibuy Rodamco Westfield. The new Terminal 1 commercial program will have a dynamic lineup of food and beverage, retail, and product opportunities. And we have a number of subject matter experts here with us today. So let's introduce our speakers. So as Frank mentioned, my name is Amy Benson and I'm the VP of Marketing for URW. We also are welcoming Alex Solomon, who is our Director of Leasing with URW, and he oversees the new Terminal 1. Alex is going to walk you through the project and specific commercial opportunities today. With us, we have Ashley Harry. She's Director of Leasing with URW, working on JFK. Ashley brings great expertise on ACDBEs and partnerships with our community. From our key partner, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, we will hear more from Rachel Antoine, Manager of External Affairs. And we have Diana Hilaire with Senior Project Manager with RFW Consultants today. Diana is a resource who supports the local community on how to get involved and participate in business opportunities. And of course, you just heard from Frank Mendoza, Diversity Outreach Manager for the new Terminal 1. Let's go to the next slide. So a few housekeeping points as we kick off today's program. This session is being recorded and will be posted on our website for replay, along with the presentation. As a reminder, last week we hosted our kickoff session, Introduction to Airport Concessions Opportunities. For those of you who joined us last week, we welcome you back. And for those of you who are new here today, last week's session is available online and a recording can be viewed on our website, urwairports.com. We will open the floor to questions later in the program. So if you have a question at any time during the presentation, add a question in the Q&A tab in the engagement panel on the right. Mobile users can access Q&A using the Q&A button below the live stream video feed. We will answer all submitted questions at the end of the program. And as a reminder, by registering for today's event, you are now on our URW diverse supplier list and will be receiving project updates. Next slide. So to take us through the new Terminal 1 commercial program, I'd like to introduce Alex Solomon, Director of Leasing with URW, who will showcase the program vision and key concessions opportunities. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Amy. Nice to be on this call. As Frank alluded to earlier, we are here creating a world-class experience at New Terminal 1. And with that, we have 160,000 square feet of brand new commercial space, from F&B to retail to lounge spaces. In Phase A is slated to open in June of 2026. And I think the big things to note there are minimum 30% ACDBE participation, which is amazing. And then also the $225 million plus that we're putting into the Phase A spaces for our tenants. So just kind of want to give you an overview of the opportunities on a larger scale. We have concessions, which is retail, food and beverage, and products and services. We have design, architect, engineering, construction, which is in relation to the build outs of the spaces for our tenants. And then professional services, which go to the day-to-day operations. But for the purpose of this call, I want to just focus on the concessions. So here in the concessions, you'll see what we're looking for. We're looking for local businesses and retail, food and beverage, and specialty products or services. Of those prospects, there are plenty of opportunities, right? There's your traditional space that you could lease out. There's the automated retail. There are brand partnerships, product placement. And then you'll see in further slides that we do have a ghost kitchen component to one of the F&B programs. And there are plenty of ways to participate, right? There's partnerships. There's partnerships with prime operators. There's ACDBE operators. And there's brand licensing and product placement opportunities as well. So within those opportunities, we kind of wanted to just showcase what we have on the docket that is now or imminent or in the future, right? So we have already released our duty-free prime operator RFP a few weeks ago. Within that RFP, you'll see that there are minimum requirements for our prime operator, 30% minimum. And then what I think is always great is the minimum 5% local SKUs of products for your product to be placed on those shelves. The next two RFPs that are coming down the pipeline are the travel essential prime operator RFP and the food hall operator RFP. From all the list of opportunities coming down, you'll always see a minimum of 30% ACDBE partnerships. For the first two, you obviously see that there are 5% local SKUs that are required on the shelves. For travel essential and food operator RFPs, those are coming down the pipeline early May. And what we're looking for are qualified operators that want to either JV or want to get their products on the shelves. For the food hall operator specifically, we're looking for operators that can either operate the spaces themselves or partner with other operators or prime operators to kind of control those spaces. Other than the two RFPs coming down the pipeline, there are other opportunities, right? There are direct deals. Direct deals are deals that we work with you or your partners to find you a space that works best for you and your brand. So we have the food hall operator direct and direct deals for other retail and F&B opportunities, which are ongoing today. And in order to understand those opportunities, make sure at the end of this presentation you scan to stay connected, and also make sure that you're on these calls and reaching out to our team of RFW and myself to understand what spaces that we have coming down the pipeline. So we want to kind of just take you through what one of the RFPs looks like. So for the food hall operator RFP that should be being sent out in the beginning of May, we've divided the food hall opportunity into two separate packages to create more opportunities, right? So we expect for this RFP in the beginning of May to have a total of 6 units that is around 3,100 square feet. And we're looking for 6 that will have 6 different cuisine categories within those spaces. So you have 1 landslide, which we're looking for a bagel opportunity, and then we have 5 in the actual food hall area, which we're looking for salad, chicken, sandwich, pizza, and sushi. Not to say that if you had another brand or cuisine category that you thought made sense, we are willing and able to look at all different brands, but these are the ones that we've identified to coincide with the rest of the programming. And now I will pass it back to Amy.
Thanks so much, Alex, and thanks for that great overview of opportunities. I'd now like to welcome to the stage Ashley Harry, Director of Leasing with URW at JFK, who will present airport concession business models and dive into joint ventures. Ashley?
Thank you, Amy. So some of you on this call may know me or have seen me or worked with me previously. So today I'm taking my leasing hat off and kind of putting my joint venture ACDBE partner hat on for the purpose of this presentation. So I know Alex just threw a lot of information at everybody. We will certainly continue to stay in communication and update everybody as needed. A lot of exciting things are kind of coming down the pipe for JFK T1. I also realize we have a very wide audience that's kind of with us today. So we have, veterans of the industry, long-term ACDBE operators. We have newcomers to the business, and there's a place for everybody in this project and at this table. So one thing I always say about airports is it is a long game, right? So we start conversations and start issuing information, and it takes quite a bit of weeks and months to kind of get to the next phases. So do not panic or do not rush. There is lots of time for us to kind of work with you and our partners to get you technically ready for the opportunity. So that said, thank you for being here. Alex touched on some of these business models in the airport environment space. If you're not familiar, the easiest way to understand this is We have operators, or you've heard prime operators. Those are people, usually larger size companies who are national, international, global, who operate one to many spaces in the terminal. Normally I'm going to jump over to brand. They license brand deals, they franchise restaurants, food and beverage, quick service, retail. So, if you see a Shake Shack run in the airport, more often than not, it's not Shake Shack running that concept. It's an operating partner. So JV partnership is something we're going to dive into. So these are when two or more entities come together to form a specific entity with the intent or purpose to operate in this environment specifically. And then all the way on the right with the direct, that is what Alex alluded to. If you are a business owner and you are interested in operating your own long-term inline space, that would fall under the direct operation category. Next slide, please. So joint venture, I'm sure people have heard this term. It's something we use quite a bit in the airport environment, more often than even some other places. There are FAA guidelines around this subject, which you will see come through in this presentation at the end. But really, if you think about it, it's a who, what, where, when, and why for the purpose of the project. So, who are the participants? What are they participating in? What does that participation look like? Meaning, what is the capital contribution by both parties? Who's controlling or managing the day to day? Who is able to make decisions, etc. So these are just a few of the top line bullets that are associated with a joint venture. I do encourage you to look for the FAA kind of joint venture paperwork. You could also Google it if you're interested in this to really read through the details, because there are many. Next slide. So over the years and the months, we've been talking to people about I want to become a JV partner, maybe the 30% partner, just to get my feet wet in the environment. I'm local, I'm ACDBE certified, but what exactly does that look like, or what does that mean for me, right? These are conversations I have personally had in relativity to JFK. So if you focus or start here on the red cell, the red column, when you're thinking about a deal, the valuation of a deal or space, there's a couple things with the CapEx. Those are usually things like cost of build out, startup costs, and then any working capital that's needed. So I'm going to do a quick little scenario just to showcase one specific example. Again, there's not one size fits all. All these deals kind of look different. These are round numbers, right? So just keep that in mind. But if we're looking at the total estimated value of a deal, right, we're going to take a 1,500 square foot food and beverage location, which is an average size F&B, whether it's, quick serve, a grab and go. And we're going to price that out CapEx at $2,000 per square foot. That would, in this theory, include your build out, include your FF&E, which is furniture, fixtures, equipment, and the other costs you need to start. So that would take us to a valuation of about $3 million just to get this business in the airport environment up and running. And this cost per foot, this $2,000, is driven by the market, kind of what the cost is to build in the airport environment. This is not something, we as URW, RFW, any of the people on this call control. And that does fluctuate. 2,000 is just kind of a round number. It can go up. It likely will not go down. So if you were to come into this model, as I mentioned, as a 30% ACDBE partner, you would basically be taking the $3 million valuation times your 30%. That brings you to a $900,000 kind of investment in this startup, right? So what typically is looked for is a 20% upfront investment, with the balance kind of going into a loan. So that means you need just under $200,000 due at signing. And so, over the long-term payout of a deal, which food and beverage is usually 7 to 10 years in the airport environment, you will recoup about 30% of that net profit after you pay off things like the loan payoff and the amortization. So when we're talking about what do I need to do to prepare, or how can I be best suited to prepare, This is a very important kind of example of the cost it would kind of require to participate in an average size food and beverage space as a 30% partner, right? Next slide. So when it comes to joint venture and I would say airport operations in general, we'll certainly have segments down the road about airport operations, what makes it unique, what makes it special, where the challenges or hurdles might exist. But from a joint venture kind of perspective, these are key terms that you'll start to hear and should do some due diligence and research around. So there's different operating models, which we've talked about today. There's different operating requirements, which we will talk about in a later session. Those are, hours of operation in the airport environment are much different than on the street side. You have that added layer of TSA, security, badging, right? All of your employees need to be able to pass a background screening. There's different lease or contract terms that are something to think about. There's brand royalties. So what we have here is just kind of some of the more commonly used ones, but certainly not all of them. Next slide. And so if I put my prime operating partner hat on for a moment, which is typically a space that we as a developer don't get involved in, but we will be kind of supporting this go around. How do I make myself as an ACDBE person like attractive or relevant to a prime operator? What are things that they're going to want to know about me or see about me that I should be thinking about, right? They're certainly going to want to know or have me fill out a form with all of my information, right? You will likely sign an NDA or a non-disclosure agreement. Those are very common in the airport environment. It allows us and it allows our partners to speak about details and specifics that may not yet be public knowledge and are meant to kind of remain that way. There'll certainly be a background check that's done to check the validity of who you say you are, who your company is, that you're in good standing, etc. ACDB certification, NAICS codes, those are something that RFW, our partner, will talk about a little bit later and are certainly here to support on. You'll review the financial statements of your business and of the deal, and then, there'll be what we commonly refer to as an LOI or a non-binding letter of intent that two parties enter into that kind of outlines the commercial terms of said deal. After all that happens, you would enter into more of a long-term lease. So if you're thinking like, what do the next steps in this process look like? This is just a quick snapshot to help understand that. Next slide. So best practice and tips, you will hear these from our team, often. And so as Amy mentioned, if you are on this call, thank you for being here, but you are registered to receive information about this project. So when we say, be part of things, network, participate, show up, make sure people know who you are. That not only goes for this project, but I would say any airport project that you're interested in being a part of. These are best practices to remember. Certifications and access to capital or funding, in my experience, are two things that take the longest. So those are two things you certainly want to get started with. And I'll let our kind of resource and technical certification team support that message. But those are two things I would say take 6, 9, 12 months sometimes to, accumulate all the paperwork you need, submit for certification. They are not quick turnarounds when you're dealing with state and agency authorities at times. There's a big pipeline of interest in this subject. Develop your relationships, create your network, I think is extrememly important, right? You never know where a creative deal might come from or a creative opportunity. I think us as the developer is doing the most to create tons of access points throughout the project and the different opportunities with product, with automated retail, etc. But you never know, if you're kind of sourcing these things on the back end, what that also might uncover. Finance 101 and maximize your brands. Those are things that, of course, focus on and make sure your marketing and your brand awareness is where it should be to enter into this very professional environment. Next slide. I will turn it back over to Amy. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Ashley. That was a really helpful walkthrough of partnership opportunities. I do see a lot of attendees that are continuing to join the WebEx event, and I just want to remind you, if you have a question, please click the question icon to submit, and we will be answering questions during a Q&A at the end of this webinar. Now I'd like to bring back up Rachel Antoine, Manager of External Affairs with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Rachel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Amy. Once again, I'm happy to be here with you all. As Ashley alluded earlier on the importance of networking and connecting and being prepared, we're here to share with you the Port Authority ACDBE certification information. So with every single firm who's on the call, if you have not yet been able to get certified with the Port Authority, we are encouraging you all to connect with our office and our team here to ensure that we can definitely help you with those resources too as well. And we encourage you all to complete the application found at our Port Authority Diversity's website. And as you can see, that information is on the screen. And as many of my colleagues mentioned earlier, that we will be providing this slide deck for you to obtain those information. But however, we do have a certification hotline where you can also reach out to us via phone 212-435-7888 to connect with a certification specialist, or you can send us an email at certhelp@panyj.gov. Again, like Ashley mentioned, it is important that you start this process as soon as possible, for it can take numerous numbers of days for it to be completed through our system too as well. We also encourage you to connect with us at the center. We can go to the next slide, please. So we also invite you to connect with myself and our team at the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. So this specific slide that you are viewing is our monthly ACDBE webinar that we conduct within the Port Authority. So every month we have noticed that there are tons of firms who are looking forward to obtaining their certification. So we provide that information on a monthly basis. Our next session is May 9th at 6 p.m. You can scan the QR code that is on the website, on the flyer, for you to sign up or register, or we can provide you with that information via email too as well. Again, our next session is May 9th at 6 p.m. Next slide, please. If you are wondering how you can touch base with us, the outreach team on the JFK project regarding the redevelopment and Port Authority opportunities related, and also on other projects within the Port Authority too, as we are embarking on this major redevelopment of JFK Airport, please, I encourage you all, if you did not hear anything from what I've said today, is to connect with us at www.anewjfk.com. All of our informations are there where you can connect with our team here too as well. You can also reach out to our office at JFK Redevelopment at panyj.gov, or reach out to myself and my co-manager. Again, like we said earlier, we will share those slides with you, and we encourage you all to stay strong, stay connected, and also get certified. And I'll pass it over to Amy.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. We so appreciate your insights on resources and the incredible partnership with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. So I'd now like to introduce Diana Hilaire, Senior Project Manager with RFW Consultants, and our partner who can provide you with key education, capacity building, and certification expertise. Welcome, Diana.
Thank you so much, Amy, and thank you for everyone who's on. Like Rachel said, we are here to help, and what a great partnership we have with URW on this magnificent, phenomenal project that will be forever life-changing. So if you are looking for an opportunity here and you think you may or may not be a good fit, do not worry. Scan this QR code right here in front of you and fill out all the information, and trust and believe we will get back to you and figure out how we can best help you cross the finish line or start to prepare to cross the finish line. And as Rachel mentioned, if there is any way, shape, or form that you need to get in contact, have no fear. You can speak to a live person at the JFK Redevelopment Community Information Center located right in the heart of Jamaica. Address is right there in front of you. And at the very least, if you have a burning question right now that you just need to get out and just need some more information, please do not hesitate to reach us out in info URW at rfwconsultants.com. So many W's, guys. Once again, info URW at rfwconsultants.com. And of course, we are still going through all the emails because we had a phenomenal event last week. So don't worry, we will get in touch with you. And don't forget, and Asia Ingram, if you're on this, we will get in touch with you. Do not fret. I think that's all I got for you. We're here to help and happy to help. Amy, back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Diana. And thank you to all of our presenters for sharing your knowledge with our audience today. So we are now going to open the floor to questions for our panelists. We've received a number of questions from the audience. What I'm going to do is invite all of our panelists back to the stage for the Q&A. As well, I'd like to welcome Quentin Bailey with RFW Consultants, who is a great resource. And we will get going in 1 second. So we received a number of questions, Quentin, on certifications, and I'll start with you. Quentin, what certifications are you looking for, and what helps us get an edge in airport work?
Well, the most important certification is the Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, ACDBE certification. That certification program with many letters, of course, those who are most concerned about being involved with airport concessions, there are goals associated with the commercial program at New Terminal 1. And when we're looking to matchmake our ACDBEs with opportunities at New Terminal 1, we're looking for those firms that have gone through the certification process. And that's managed by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. We use the resources that's been shared by Diana and Rachel to start that certification process.
Thanks, Quentin. And I do have a follow-up question for you. How or where does MWBE fit into all of this?
Well, we won't. There are no MWBE certification participation goals for the concessions program, but we do need MWBEs when it comes to building out our concession spaces. So stay tuned to the website. Stay tuned. Send us inquiries. Once you're registered, you'll start to get those events that are associated with the build out of those concession spaces in the terminals. And that's when we'll be looking for our MWBE certified firms to assist us with those build outs.
Great, thank you so much. Ashley, the next question is for you. We got a number of questions on franchises and partnerships. So the first question is, can an ACDBE operate a unit or business, or do we need to be a joint venture?
Thank you, Amy. So an ACDB can certainly operate their own space as 100% ACDB. In fact, we love that, right? Selfishly, as the deal maker, we love that because, as Quentin mentioned, we do have contractual obligations. I think the joint venture is just a creative way to incorporate more ACDBs who may not be ready to operate or may not have the complete funding to self-operate. So I would look at it more of an additional opportunity layer than I can only operate if it's through a joint venture.
Great. And a follow-up question for you, Ashley. So can we do franchises, and how does this typically work in an airport?
So there's two ways of, I guess, looking at that question, Amy. So can we do franchises? Meaning, can you operate a franchise in the airport? Certainly. You as the operator would be responsible for finding that franchise, papering that franchise, having the ability to operate that franchise. So the onus would be on you as the operator to, like we said, go out, secure the franchise that you're interested in, and paper that. so that you can come to us, as URW and make a deal with us for said franchise. The other way of looking at that is um, if you're a business and you're looking for somebody else to operate and you're interested in franchising your business, also, again, that's the alternative, but that is also on you as the business to find somebody who's willing to franchise your business to operate in the airport space.
Great. Thanks, Ashley. Alex, the next question is for you. So, Terminal 1 is an all international terminal. Can you tell us more about the customer, their needs and wants, and what types of product do you think will work well?
Yeah, great question. So yes, it is an international terminal. As we continue through this process, more and more airports will be finalized. Airlines will be finalized, but we fully anticipate an international customer with a high spend per passenger. And with that, it's hard to say what makes a good brand. A good brand is a brand that is operated well, that is wanted by the consumer. We, as URW, we have merchandising strategies in place to get the best of the best in a bunch of different categories. And there are plenty of ways to be a part of that program, right? It's not just leasing space. There is opportunities to put your product within the shelves of other spaces. So I just think, when you're going through an airport, F&B, food and beverage is obviously a huge player. And then there's travel essentials, things that people need and want on the go. And that are desired and easy to obviously travel with as well. So, I don't think there's a perfect way to answer that question in terms of what makes a good brand for an airport. If you have a good brand and a good product that is wanted by consumers, it's something that we're going to take a look at.
Thanks, Alex. Good points. So, Quentin, we're getting a lot of questions on certification. So questions for you. How do I know if it's worth it to become certified? And does certification guarantee a contract?
Well, of course, we can't guarantee a contract. As with all certifications, we take a look at your business, and ACDBE particularly looks at you qualifying, the business owner qualifying as a disadvantaged business owner. So that means that there's a few requirements that go along with that. One of them is having a personal net worth that's less than 1.32 million. And so you can start to understand what an ACDBE looks like and to determine your eligibility. As far as evaluating the opportunity, I'll say to stay tuned, listen to our great partners at URW and New Terminal 1 as they talk about what the opportunities look like, and you get to hear from those direct operators in our future outreaches in person and like this virtually.
So, Quentin, another question for you. I am a firm based in Colorado. I am ACDBE certified in Colorado, and I have my interstate certification in New York. As an out-of-state ACDBE firm, can I participate?
Absolutely. The commercial program, as Frank described, is a large one. We're going to need participation from many sources. So we're happy to hear that you've gone through the ACDBE process. And yes, if you're certified with the Port Authority, that means that you are ACDBE certified in New York and New Jersey. And so just a quick word, Amy, if I can, for those firms who are outside of New York and New Jersey, as the question, the person who asked the question has indicated, you have to be certified in your home state as an ACDBE. And once you've done that, you can apply to the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey using the interstate certification process. And all that means is that the Port Authority will certify you based on your home state certification. And once you're certified, then you qualify for these ACDBE opportunities here at our New York airports, and particularly at JFK.
Great. Thanks, Quentin. Ashley, we have a question about partnership. So, if I am a 30% partner, beyond the investment, what would be expected of me?
So, look, I think it's important to recognize that every deal is structured a little bit differently and very bespoke and unique to that deal, that offer, that joint venture agreement. But aside from the financing, things you can, be expected to do are potentially operating, right, in some capacity on the day-to-day basis locally, sometimes not. um, Making decisions about the business is another one, right? So it's really like a very unique type of partnership that it's not a one size fits all model. It's very unique to kind of the need of that business, I would say.
Yes, very good points. Uh, every deal, everything is different in an airport. Quentin, I just keep getting more questions for you. So, I am an owner of a restaurant located in Jamaica, Queens. I was recently certified as ACDBE and MWBE. How do I apply for an opportunity?
All right. So for a particular opportunity, you're going to look out for the offerings that are available to you from the URW airports website. From there, you'll see opportunities for our food hall that Alex and Ashley have talked about. So for some opportunities, there will be an RFP process. For some, it'll be an application process. There will be others where there are direct deals that Alex and Ashley have talked about. So stay in touch with us, attend sessions like this, and then we'll also have some in-person events as well, where you'll have a chance to talk to the folks that are putting together that commercial program, the concessions program at URW and New Terminal 1, so you can understand so you can explain what it is that your talents, your expertise is, and so they can help to match make you to the opportunities that are going to be available.
Amy,
Thanks,
if I
Quentin.
could just
Yep.
elaborate on that. So,
Mhm.
look, I think it's very important. We are very transparent, Alex and myself, around, these deals and these opportunities. I think it's very important. Two things. Just because there's an opportunity that exists doesn't mean it's right for you or for your business. The airport is a very challenging place to work and to operate. And so we want to make sure that you are set up for success. The last thing any of us want to do is bring in a new partner into the space who is not able to succeed and to thrive. The other part to that is what Alex mentioned about the airlines, right? The airlines are the only customers that you will have in an airport environment, right? You cannot drive foot traffic from the street into your airport space. So it's very important you do your research and you do your homework on what airlines are present, what routes they're flying, who their customer is, what those demographics look like. It may require some digging, but I can assure you that that information is often online. And in the case of T1, airlines are still being finalized. So once that full photo is kind of clear, Alex will help kind of paint that picture and match make the right companies, the right brands with the opportunities, if that makes sense. And if you've been to one terminal, you've been to one terminal. They're all incredibly different. Even at JFK, each terminal is very, very unique in their own right. So it's important to really dive into those details and make sure this is the right opportunity for me, right? Because it's a very big investment, which we've already kind of pulled to the surface today. So that would be my 2 cents.
I'm going to jump in real quick. Ashley, thank you for your 2 cents. I'm going to add one more cent to that in addition to Quentin and just say, listen, we are here to help. So in everything that you've heard, if you want additional information, we would love to hear from you. So please do not hesitate to email us at infourw@rfwconsultants.com. Once again, infourw@rfwconsultants.com. And I would like to buy a W because that's a whole lot of W's.
Well, thank you, Quentin, Diana, and Ashley, for all of that good information. Quentin, I have another couple questions for you. So this is around ACDBE. Is the ACDBE for engineering firms, or will the DBE certification suffice for concession construction opportunities?
In general, for the concession build-outs, there are no ACDBE goals. So we will look for your MWBE certification for the build-outs, and there are some engineering functions that are part of the build-out for these individual spaces. So the DBE certification is really only involved if there are federal funds involved in the program. So the DBE wouldn't really come into play here either.
Great. A follow-up question for you on the ACDBE program and the personal net worth. So, does personal net worth include the value of a primary residence?
Your personal net worth calculation does not include your primary residence. We can talk further about some of the other requirements, but in general, any other additional investment property that you hold does count, but not your primary residence. And if you have any particular specific questions about that certification as well, as Diana has given us, has provided, certainly send that by info@rfwconsultants.com.
Thanks, Quentin. I have a question here that I'm going to try to answer. So, are there any specific areas, calls for professional services that support these businesses? For example, I am an F&B trainer. I'm an HR practitioner. I do training. How do I work with operators in the airport? I am ACDBE and certified by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. A great question. Yes, there's definitely opportunity for all types of professional services. Uh, Professional service training programs, absolutely, as well as customer service, mystery shopping programs, a number of different types of programs. We have all types of professional services we'll be looking for, from janitorial to marketing services to printing. We encourage you to join, and you at being in this WebEx today, you're a part of URW's Supplier Diversity Network, and we put out our opportunities via email and also our social media. If you are on LinkedIn, we highly encourage you to follow us as well at URW Airports, Unibail Rodamco Westfield Airports. Our social channel is also a great way to stay informed on everything that is happening with the project. So I have another question, and I think this question would be best for probably Frank or Alex. Um, are there traffic exception assumptions we can use when building our business models?
I will jump in here. I think in the next coming weeks, we should have more data coming in from the airlines to help you with your pro forma. So again, I'd reach out to Diana and the RFW team to stay up to date with that information and continuously ask for that information so that we can pass it along to you to help you with your pro forma. But that's a great question. I do think it's extremely valuable for any of the businesses to do their pro formas.
Thanks, Alex. Ashley, I'm looking to put products into an existing store, for instance, Hudson. What do I need to do to meet the right buyers?
So, in the sense of Hudson, right? Hudson does have an incredible opportunity for product placement within their shelves, travel essentials. As the driver of Hudson is a big draw to foot traffic. So, um, in addition to our outreaches that we kind of offer and match make and support that, Hudson does, and many of the operators who have these opportunities host their own matchmaking and outreach sessions in the market. To Amy's point, I follow these people all on LinkedIn and stalk their pages and try to attend them whenever we see them. But when we say kind of tips to getting ready, to staying ready, to being present and being visible in the market, these are the types of things that we mean. is that you don't have to just work in a silo, right? Expand your horizons, go to different types of events, meet different types of people. The other thing I will say, and this is nothing about the specific operator, but if you are just entering the airport space and your local small business, ACDB, do not strongly consider against signing any type of exclusive deals with anybody. Things will always sound good, right? That we're all in a deal making and selling environment. Use RFW team as a soundboard if you need support on that kind of capacity, because you just never know. Sure, that there may be an immediate one deal for you if you're willing to go exclusive, but you just never know what that could hold you back from in the future if there are no opportunities available for for a specific reason. I would kind of always keep your options open as much as possible. Local small businesses, ACDBs, your services are very much in demand. So I would say kind of just continue to explore many different paths and options in lieu of kind of going exclusive on one thing or the first thing that you would hear.
Thanks, Ashley. Rachel, we have a question for you. So could you tell us what is the Institute of Concessions? Who is it designed for, and where can we learn more?
Thanks, Amy, for that question. That is an interesting question, as I alluded earlier to the community benefits on the project. So the Institute of Concession is a specific initiative developed by the JFK redevelopment team and the Port Authority to ensure that we are preparing businesses to enter and operate at an airport, right? So this specific Institute of Concession is about a 12-week long program, and I'm actually excited to be here because I'm actually attending the first cohort today as we speak in this building at 2 p.m. And we're happy to mention that the last fall, we were able to graduate businesses who could potentially have an opportunity to operate at the airport. So if you are looking forward to understanding how to operate at an airport, how to have your concession business at the airport, this institute is one of the best program, I should say, that is available to you free. It's a free program available to you for you to amass as much knowledge around the airport industry. Again, if you would love to obtain more information about it, like I spoke earlier in regards to the community initiative, we have a wonderful program coordinator, Diana Rose, who is handling that program for us. And we will definitely share more information to you on that. But shall you have more question on it, you can reach out to JFK Redevelopment at PANYNJ.gov for more information, and we'll direct you to the right person to handle that. Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, Rachel. And Diana was on our event last week. So if you visit urwairports.com, she did a presentation on the Institute of Concessions. It is recorded and it's available for you to watch if you were not able to join us last week. But a lot of great information and such a great program. I see that we have gotten through the majority, actually all of our questions. So I want to thank our audience for your participation in today's session, and really to all of our panelists for lending your expertise. So as a reminder, if you registered for this session, you will be receiving a link to the recording, and again, it'll be posted on urwairports.com. By registering for today's event, you are now a part of our URW Supplier Diversity Network, so you're part of our mailing list, and you're going to know about upcoming outreach events and business opportunities as they get posted live. I want to also just remind everyone that you can email info@rfwconsultants.com. They are available for support and for any and all questions, and Diana and Quentin are fantastic resources. I really want to thank our panelists today, and I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We look forward to working with you on the new Terminal 1.